Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today I want to talk about plots that are being made against Pakistan and Quran and the overall scheme of the way things are happening. See, the reason for Mi'raj of the Prophet ﷺ happened. When did it happen? It happened at a time where the Prophet ﷺ had already been giving da'wah to Mecca for like a long time, for 8 years, and there was very little result. And then he went to Ta'if and there was no result there. And at that time where his uncle had passed away, his wife had passed away, radiallahu anha, Khadija radiallahu anha, they had passed away, and he was in this situation where his dua in Ta'if was Allahumma inni ashku ilayk, oh Allah, I complain to you, right? And not that the Prophet was complaining, but he was complaining about himself. Ashku ilayka du'fati wa killa hilyati. I complain to you about my weakness, that I'm so weak I can't do anything for Islam. And so he was in this state, and in this state the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did two things with the Prophet. The first thing that the Prophet did was a group of jinns brought iman on the Prophet, so to show the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the universe, anything can happen in this universe, even jinns can start believing in you. And the second thing that happened was Isra wal Mi'raj. Now, going to Jerusalem, why? To show the Prophet ﷺ that your ummah, your people will defeat and have the final battle here. This is the place of the final battle. This is the place of the final battle. And then from here, from Jerusalem, the Prophet went to Mi'raj. This is called Isra. From Mecca to Jerusalem, Isra. Well, Mi'raj is to the seventh heavens, is to go beyond the heavens and the earth. So, that is the first ayah of Surah Bani Israel. Subhanalladhi asra bi abdihi layla min al-masjid al-haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa. Now, this ayah that is in front of you, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَشْهَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. You will find in the future, and you will definitely find أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ, most severe عَدَاوَةً. If you dig, you will see this, right? If you dig down and dig deep, you will see this. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً, most severe of the people in hatred and animosity, لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, to those who believe, الْيَهُودُ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا, those people who are Yahud and those people that are pagans. Yahud and Hanud. The combination of the Yahud, which is today's formation of that Israel, and وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا, those people who do shirk, and just like the shirk, the mushrikeen of Mecca, the best example of that, or the prime example of that, is the people of India. The coming together of these two, right? And their ultimately biggest opponent in all of this is going to be Pakistan. They have some other big opponents too. Turkey is a big opponent. Arab world is going to be smushed. Then Turkey is going to be, according to the narrations of the Prophet, is going to also be defeated. Then at that time, let's see what the situation of Pakistan is. But whatever the situation of Pakistan is, this is what's happening, what I'm about to show you. Because I've told you before, Pakistan has one of the two choices. Either it turns towards Allah, or Allah will allow the punishment to come. And inshallah, the people of Pakistan, they should see these events happening before them. The things the Prophet had said, what will happen to the Arab world, happening before them. The tall buildings the Prophet talked about. And this should open our iman, open our insight, open our eyes. We should no longer be blind. We should no longer be deaf. Right? So let's get into it today, what I want to go into. So, but remember, وَلَتَجِدَنَّ, you will find the most severe in animosity against you who? The Yahud and Hanud. Okay? And these are the people that the hadith of Ghazwatul Hind, right, is exactly about this very point. That on the one side, the Muslims will be fighting who? The Yahud. And on the other side, Muslims will be fighting against who? Hanud. Okay? So ultimately, it will be these two. And so, I want to share with you this. Israel is playing a big role in India's escalating conflict with Pakistan. Okay, behind the scenes, you don't understand how big of a role, and I'm not going to talk about exactly what today, but Israel is playing a very big role. I wish somebody could tell this, because what people want is to manufacture war and to get Pakistan involved in wars to weaken Pakistan from all sides. Pakistan has to stay strong until it finally has to deal with Israel, because Israel has big plans, and the only army and the only country that can deal with that at a practical level at this point in time. The rules of Allah I mentioned last time in my talk about Ghazwatul Hind, that's separate. Pakistan turns to Allah or doesn't turn to Allah. Either way, Israel has its plans. You can let that go for now. Israel playing a big role in India's conflict with Pakistan. Okay, this is Dawn News. Israel offers unconditional help to India to defend itself, especially against terror. Now, there's some things that are common between India and Israel. First, India has locked, jailed, habas is the Arabic word, imprisoned a group of people, the Kashmiris, just as Israel has locked and dealing with, meaning they're dealing with a similar problem. Okay, over there is the Palestinians, and over there is the Kashmiris. They're both locked. They both are in a state of habas, in a state of sijn. Okay, Israel offers unconditional help to India to defend itself. So they both have this thing, oh, you know, we're doing this against terrorists. Oh, we're coming into Pakistan to get the terrorists. Nothing against you, just against the terrorists. And doing this, and this kind of the same narrative that's been going on in Israel is now starting in India. Okay, so now, what do I want to say? Israel offers unconditional help to India to defend itself, especially against terror. So we understand this. Israel is playing a big role in India's escalating conflict with Pakistan. Why? This will become clear. Israel playing a major role in India-Pakistan conflict, UK analyst. And then you can see very clearly Israel and why does it matter. Okay, this is just some things, some articles about India and Israel, their relationships, giving India a voice. Netanyahu meets Bollywood stars. India, where Israel image is positive, right? What is India's de-hyphenation policy towards Israel, and why does it matter? Now, I think a lot of you are aware of the plan of Odin Yinin, right? His strategy to build the greater Israel, okay, which I'll come to in a second. Here is the particular points that the research talks about. The strategy for Israel in the 1980s, this was, but it's being implemented now. Okay, and this is, by the way, Pakistan is mentioned in this. I'm not going to go into that today. And I'm not going to go into the details of this. I have another video in which I talk about the greater Israeli plan, and I talk a little bit there. But this is all about what they want to do with the Middle East, how they want to dismantle everything in the Middle East, and basically Turkey and the Middle East, and any threat that they would have to building the greater Israel. Okay, this is written by a research, and by the way, here it is. Okay, look at this. They want to take anywhere there's, why is there conflict in the Middle East? Anywhere where there's a conflict, especially a manufactured conflict, I wish this would become a coined term in political science, because this is what we have. We have manufactured conflicts. We have manufactured wars. Okay, and you didn't see the article, but Israel is benefiting financially also by giving all these weapons to Israel. We're in your support. We support you, and then Israel is actually making money off of India to a great degree. Okay, so you got Syria, you got Damascus, you got Iraq, right? They want to go all the way from Egypt to the Euphrates, from the Niles to the Euphrates. You know what's so interesting? When I was in Egypt studying our deen, I realized that the Sifara, the embassy of the Israeli embassy in Egypt, was on the Nile, exactly where they want to go. You know, exactly up to the Nile, so from Euphrates to the Nile, right? And so here they will take a part of Saudi Arabia, they will take this Egypt over here, right? Jordan, they will take this, but they will, in order to be able to do that, they need to dismantle everything around it and anything that would become a threat to them. And because it brings Mecca into threat, they basically have to dismantle the whole Muslim world, including they will dismantle Turkey. They will try their best to do that. And that also means ultimately they have to find a way to dismantle Pakistan. So this is another of the same book, basically, Strategy for Israel in the written by Odin Yinin. Every person in the ISI or in any secret service of Pakistan should read this, okay, and a few other things that I'll be pointing out later in my other documents. So what is the Greater Israel, and what is it based upon? It's based upon the idea of the third temple. That once the third temple is there, now they can spread. So they need to be in a military position where they can dismantle everything, and all these conflicts that are going on in the world, especially in the Middle East, is a punishment from Allah on the one side, but on the other side, it's the planning of Israel that once these conflicts are there, these conflicts against one another are just Israel's policy to make it easy for it to expand, right? And so they want to build the third temple so that their Messiah will come, and this is a precondition for their Greater Israel, okay? And if you saw my other video where I talked about, they said we have to actually reconquer areas of Israel because they weren't conquered under the Torah, and they weren't conquered under the third temple, and they weren't conquered with the Messiah. So they have to reconquer even their own land, you can say. The building of the third temple on the mount in Jerusalem, okay? You guys already know this. Does the Bible prophecy require a third temple to be built? The Greater Israel plan, we all know what that's about, okay? So, this is my short talk for today. Who are the enemies? Ultimate enemy, you gotta remember, India and Israel, Yahud and Hanud. As the Quran itself guides us to this, وَلَتَجِدَنَّ, you will find that behind the scenes, who are the people that are really at play? Behind the scenes, who are the people that are your real enemies? You know, وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودُ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. Your real enemy is Israel that wants to create this conflict. Behind India is Israel, and never ever forget that. Behind India, look for Israel. Behind India, look for Israel. Okay, and you will find also that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse, He mentions Yahud first, and then the Mushrikeen. Just like in Medina, it was the Yahud that were inciting. What's wrong with you guys? You're going to let Muhammad just take over? What's wrong with you guys? You're not going to fight him, right? They were the ones that were inciting, doing the inciting. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also describes them, يُرِيدُونَ لِيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ. They want to extinguish the light of Allah with their mouths. So they use their mouths. Who is the one that's giving the ideas, the suggestions? Do this, do this, do this. And then they're going to make the mushrikeen do the work, right? And so you got to be aware of this, that it is extremely, extremely important that Pakistan be aware of who its real enemies are behind the scenes, who is in the front line, and who is in behind the scenes and moving. And then especially Pakistan has to see itself as basically a fortress for Islam, not just for itself, but a fortress for Islam. Because as the Middle East is getting bombarded and as the Middle East is getting destroyed, there are very few places that can now protect Islam, or less and less places that can protect Islam. So I say this because we have to understand who are the enemies of Islam, and Pakistan has to understand its role in trying to make things better for Islam and the Muslims. And therefore, the people of Pakistan and the government of Pakistan has to do tawbah. And I want to end by saying this. Tawbah will only happen when you throw away the paper money. Rupees, what is rupees? It's just paper money that you accept from the foreigners. This is not the Islamic monetary system. I wish Maulana Taqi Usmani would instill in the people, in the fatwa of his dad, this paper money is not real money. Somebody needs to study this issue. Some Muslims, it has no intrinsic value like gold and silver. Okay, paper money is it's just paper. Look at what happened in Germany, right? Do people not study what happens with paper money, with inflation and deflation, and what people have written about paper money? Can someone go and talk to Maulana Taqi Usmani about this? Pakistan needs to, if Pakistan wants to win this war in the future, you have to get rid of paper money, because as long as you have paper money, they have control of your economy ultimately. Look at what has happened in Turkey. Look at what's happening in Venezuela. They could do the same thing to Pakistan at a financial level. You have to go back to gold and silver. You cannot be under a system of theirs if you want to ultimately fight them. If you want your currency to be stable and to be on its own feet, you have to develop your own currency away from the currency of the system of riba, away from a system that's based upon, as long as you have riba, and riba is based upon this paper money, and paper money is fake money, it's not real money. It's haram to even think that this is money. We have no choice because of the world that we live in, but the governments, they have a choice to create a new currency. You have to create a new currency. And that's the first step. That would be the biggest step, the most biggest step that you could take, is to establish your own currency based upon a bimetal economy, a bimetal of gold and silver, right? America's economy is based upon the petroleum, the oil. But behind it, the dollar is not even owned by the government in a sense. It's owned by the Federal Reserve, which is a private company. If you guys don't understand this, please, somebody in the Pakistan's intelligence agency study these issues. You got to understand that Russia, with all its military might, lost. Why? Because of economics. They lost because of their inability to fight, to fund wars. To fund wars, you need money. And India already spends more in money-wise. It spends more than Pakistan in military. And will be spending more and more. But what can Pakistan do? The best thing Pakistan can do is to create its own economic system, a parallel system, at least, if nothing but a parallel system where they have two economies, or to throw away, rather, even better, the paper money economy, and to establish an economy both based upon gold and silver, and to do away with paper money. And to tell people, look, we'll pay you in gold and we'll pay you in silver. And Pakistan, from what I understand, has a lot of gold. And so it should be in Pakistan's interest to do that. So anyway, وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَشْهَدَّ النَّاسِ أَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَهُودَ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. The Yahud, they made these financial banks based upon paper money, and paper money has no value. You just use them because, that's what the world tells you to do, but they have no value. When the dollar falls, what value will rupees have? And the dollar will fall. And then Israel will mint its own coins. In fact, if you watch my other videos, it's very clear. Israel is already beginning the process of minting its own coins for the third temple and everything. So we need to wake up. Okay, inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Make sure to subscribe today, and make sure you like, and make sure you leave your comments and ideas. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
أشهد أن لا إله